For any entrepreneur, any brand, any business owner running ads on Meta, Facebook ads have just changed forever. And we're not talking about a small tweak. This is literally a huge shift. That's going to affect every single brand that's been sold, that's been scaling using Facebook ads. And it's really going to divide advertiser into two camps. We're going to have the camp of those that just keep on doing things the way they've done for the past few years or even the past months, and they just see the ROI keep on decreasing. And on the other hand, we're gonna have the new winner, people that are actually advertisers that are actually able to skill up, educate themselves, and really print more money for the client and themselves. And I'm talking about Meta Andromeda updates. And today I really want to dive into what that update means for you and your business and what you want to pay attention to if you actually want not only your business to thrive, but to actually grow and scale even more profitably after this new update. If you've been in the paid media world, in the Facebook media world for any length of time, you probably remember what happened in 2021 with iOS 14. It was a huge update from Apple that really created a huge divide between those that were able to continue scaling their client ads profitably and their business profitably using paid media, and those that just could not be able to do that. Now, the Meta Andromeda update, I reckon, is even going to be more impactful and at a bigger scale than what we saw with iOS 14. And over the past few years, working with hundreds of different business owners, helping them, scale to tens of millions using paid media, primarily Meta ads. I really want to share with you in today's episode what you need to pay attention to if you want your business to grow in the midst of these new Facebook ads update, Meta ads updates, right? And so I'm going to pull back the curtain and share with you the most critical, non-negotiable changes that you must pay attention to and that you must implement in your ad account if you want to keep on seeing that profitable ROI continuously. Because the truth is the following: rules have already been implemented. These rules, this is not an upcoming update. It's an update that's already effective in the Meta platform, and the algorithm has become a whole lot smarter. And I want you to be prepared, and I want you to move strategically in the middle of all of these changes. So this is an episode which I'm actually going to invite you to share with your team, to someone that you know is going to get value from, staying on the edge of the competition when it comes to scaling their business profitably with Meta. Yeah, so thank you for sharing this episode. The three things that we're going to learn in this episode, I have my notes because this is such an important one here. So we're going to start by talking about your creative strategy and why your past creative strategy is not going to cut it anymore, right? Why you want to think about things differently. Secondly, we're going to talk about the new campaign structure that you want to have and implement in your ad account if you want things to keep being profitable instead of overcomplicating the stuff aside, like I know a lot of you guys do. How we're actually currently setting up our clients' ad account structure to help them get a 7, 8, 9x ROI on their ad spend. Now, and finally, we're going to talk about the single biggest mistake that you want to avoid if you actually want to keep on, growing and being profitable as you scale. Now, if you run paid media, if you run ads on Facebook, this is not going to be one of those episodes that you want to miss. You really want to buckle up because it's going to be a lot of things for you to keep in mind. The first change with this update is all about creative diversity and messaging. It means that in the past, the way in which we used to scale or even run ads on Facebook, we'll launch a couple of ads and look at how they perform, testing different creatives or even audiences and look at how they perform. And based on the performance, we'll go ahead and adjust, make some small tweaks to improve the result. Now, what these changes means is that now, instead of actually changing some little variable in your ad account, Meta wants you to introduce completely different angle. Let's say, which means that, this is already how we're setting up our client account. But what actually means is that instead, let's say that you launch a campaign and your campaign is targeting people that want to lose weight, for instance, right? And you have a messaging, you have an ad that really go about the reason why you want to lose weight, and you maybe in that messaging angle specifically, it's all about the health benefits of losing weight, right? How you'll be gonna be stronger, have more energy and vitality and all the things. Now, what happens is that Meta is showing your ads to a subgroup, to an audience pocket, in which you have, as you launch your ads, right? It's showing your ads to an audience pocket that have different subsegment. So let's say that in that audience pocket, so that group of people that will see your ads, some of them are going to be actually looking to lose weight because they've been struggling with, with their weight for a while. A couple of those people are going to be in a season where they might just be interested in about health, longevity, and strength, but they might not even look to lose weight. Some of them might be in a season where they have a partner that's looking to lose weight, or a friend, or a sibling, right? And so because they have a close one that's interested in losing weight, they are looking for more information. And the final group might just be they might be like people research or scientists, people that are just into health overall. So as Facebook shows your ads to that subset of your audience, if your messaging is all about the health benefit of losing weight and how it's going to give you more energy and more vitality and all the good stuff, that messaging is only going to click with, let's say, 1/5 of that small audience. And as it doesn't click with all of them, what's going to happen inevitably is that your ads are going to have a low reach because there's less responses from people that actually saw it. And as a result, if you just go ahead and change a couple of lines about the message, the benefits, you say that maybe that you had like 5 health benefit listed, you change the angle, but you still talk about the health benefit. What's going to happen is that the algorithm is going to keep on showing your ad to that sub segment of your target audience. It's not going to show it to everyone, to the 5 different audience pocket that it could have if you had introduced different ads creative. And that's the reason why ad creative diversity is going to be paramount, because the more creative you are, but not just the more volume, but in terms of diversity, what different angle you can talk about in your creative, because that's going to really get the interest of different people in your target audience. That's really going to be key if you want to scale profitably with the Meta update, right? So that's really the first thing that you want to have in mind. And what does that mean actually in terms of numbers? If you're wondering, you want actually to have anywhere from 20 to 40, at least even 50 ads a month, or even more, depending on how much you're actually spending on, how much budget you have for your ads. But gone are the days where you could just roll with 3 to 10 creative per month. That's simply not going to be enough, because when it comes to testing, you want to test not just the messaging, but you also want to test the format. So going from, maybe you have before and after of your client that lost weight, you have the ads about the benefit, you have one about the testimonial, you have a story ad about why you got started, you also have maybe a GIF, you have a carousel ad. So and you have a video ad. So you want to test different format, but also different messaging angle in your ads. Something that you also want to have in mind is that your messaging wants to be specific. And by specific here, I really mean referencing different type of audiences that you're actually going after. So if you are going after people that are actively looking to lose weight, you might have in your first line, in your hook, you might have that there to really call them out. So that's really going to play a massive role in your ability to scale profitably. Now, when it comes to how do you actually go about making this creative in a way that's the most efficient as possible, well, the way in which we do it with clients is we send them scripts, we send them video ad script, and in those video ads, we allow them to have different angle. So the angle here will be the hook, right? So you have different hooks. So you might have 5 different ad concepts, and for those 5 different ad concepts, we have 5 video ads that 5 video script that we create, and each of those script might have 2 or 3 different hooks. So it means that at the end of when they go through the shooting session, they might have 15 ads, 15 video ads that they give us, because for every concept we have 2 or 3 different hooks, so that we can test and see which angle resonates the most with our target audience. The same for our image ad. We like to test different, type of image ad in terms of overlay text, colors. There's a lot that we do in terms of testing, but whenever we start with a client, we like to start with at least 20 to 30 creative in the mix to make sure that we're not running out. So for you, I highly invite you to think about your creative even before you launch your first campaign, and thinking, okay, do we have enough, and have a process in your pipeline where you say, okay, every single week I'm shooting new creative. every single week the team is creating new creative, because that's literally going to make or break your ads. And now the second thing that you want to have in mind when it comes to this Andromeda update is really the advantage plus optimization. Now, in the past, the way in which most advertisers used to structure their campaign, they will have, tons of campaigns, or they're scaling their ad budget, they're just gonna go ahead and duplicate the campaign. And with this update, consolidation is going to be crucial. So when it comes to campaign structure, what you want to prioritize instead is having really 4 campaign. That's what we've been doing, and we've seen our client have the best success and the best performance in terms of the ROI with this approach, which looks like having actually 1 campaign that's for creative testing. In this campaign specifically, we are testing new messaging angle, new creative concept, and we are really leaving the targeting to be broad, and we let the algorithm really figure out who to show the campaigns to, which is to show your the ads to, based on the messaging and the ads creative themselves. The second campaign that we have is what we call our interest stack. This way we are gonna test different targeting, different keywords related to whatever our client is selling. The third one here is gonna be really our targeting campaign. This really where we go for the lowest hanging fruit. Anyone that has been on the website, got on the sales call, been on the checkout page, but didn't purchase for whatever reason, we like to, or even has watched the content of the client, have been on the social media page. We like to have multiple layers of retargeting depending on how familiar the client is, the prospect is to the offer, their pain point, and our client itself. And then we have what we like to call our advantage plus campaign. This is really where we have all of the best. So as we do the test, we like to have them, moved into our advantage plus campaign. This really where we let Facebook do its thing. We use a CBO in terms of the budget. So the budget is set up at the campaign level, and we have our top performing audiences, and we have, for each of those audiences, we have our top performing creative. And so that's typically the one that we scale infinitely until we stop seeing growth. And in that case, we like, they say, a framework that we have internally when it comes to refreshing the campaign. When it stop on that campaign optimization one has stopped performing at the level at which it used. We have a process to actually revive it, basically. So that's really what you want to do in terms of searching your campaign. So 4 campaign, interest stack, creative testing, and retargeting and advantage plus campaign, right? Now, something that which you also want to have in mind is thinking about your product. If you have different offers that you are selling, something which I would advise is actually not having them in all broad audience. So you can actually segment. If you have a different offer, you want to segment them into different campaigns so that you are able to track really the performance on the offer, the messaging perspective of the campaign. You don't want to merge in one campaign like 2 or 3 offers. It's going to just bias your understanding of what's happening. So that's something which I also wanted to highlight. And in terms of audience segmentation, now what's really cool is that you can segment your audience based on engaged audience, which is like what a new customer, and you can also have existing customer. So you can actually see, okay, out of the sales that we're getting, who are we getting the most sales from? Are we getting the most sales from our new audience, which are new customer here, that those that actually sales for the first time in purchase based on the messaging itself, or are we getting more of our ROI from our existing customer? Maybe we are doing some targeting or reactivating past clients and upselling them or cross-selling them. So those are things that you can actually look at with this new, using the breakdown feature, with this new with this new update. Now, one thing that we see for our clients is that we see a little bit more sales coming from the existing customer than from the new one, right? Because typically the new one, it takes a little bit more time for them to go from not knowing who you are to actually purchasing. So if we have on average like a 6x ROI on the existing customer, the targeting audience, we might have a 3x or a 4x on the new audience. So don't be surprised if you actually see an increase in ROI from your warmest audience. That's to be expected, and it means that you're doing things absolutely right. Also, I don't want you to think, oh, because these are new people, they can't buy. That's also a limiting belief which I see happen a lot, where business owners are going to think, oh, because this is a new audience, I'm not going to expect to make any sales. That's wrong. You can actually make sales even if you're showing your ads for the first time to a brand new person, because that's really going to depend a lot on how well your messaging is and how well your messaging is able to activate them and to get them to purchase, the messaging and also your creative. If you do a good job at those things, you can literally turn a stranger into a buyer or into a hot lead within 24 hours of them seeing your ads. The third shift that this update comes with that I really want you to be aware of is the optimization process itself. The speed has become a whole lot faster, which is probably one thing which I'm the most excited about because the first two things we were already doing for our client just intuitively, because those are just the best practices that we were implementing in our client and account to assure that to keep them to make sure that they keep on having good results. But this third thing is the best one. Is the one which I like the most. It's all about the optimization speed. What that means is that in the past, we had to wait about 7 to 10 days or 5 to 7 day minimum before you cut an ad, because you needed to let the algorithm really learn, and you needed to let the learning phase, be over before you actually made a decision. Now with this new shift, you can actually make decision a whole lot faster because the system is designed to really have a faster matching between creatives, messaging, and targeting, which means that the performance then becomes available a whole lot faster. And for client now, we are able to make decision based on whether to scale or to cut an ad within 3 to 4 days of launching the campaign, which is pretty dope compared to 7 to 10 days, because it means that we are spending less time and money on things that are not working, because you're able to understand quicker what's working, what's bringing revenue, and also allows the client to have a higher ROI on their campaign, which is absolutely amazing. And so in this case, for you to really have clean data, which is paramount when it comes to scaling profitably on Facebook, you want to either have an external tracking tool like iRose, like Wicked Report or Triple Whale, or you at least in the ad account itself, you want to make sure that your conversion API is turned on, right? You also want to make sure that your advanced matching is turned on, so that you're actually able to have your pixel fire up all of the events as they happen inside your ad account for proper optimization. Otherwise, you might actually get buyers later and think that you are getting the right information, which is actually not happening, right? So those are really what you want to make sure that you have in place. And if you have your conversion API turned on, you have your advantage plus matching turned on, you have set up your external tracking software, Google Analytics, we get about Triple Well, iOS, any of those tools. You also want to make sure that your event quality match is at least a B score, or at least 8 and plus. That's really going to allow you to confirm that Meta is receiving as much data as that needs to be able to scale your campaign profitably, right? So that's really the top 3 things that I want you to keep in mind as you are setting up your campaign in this new era. It's a change. It's going to mean that your team, your ad team has to do more, which is always the only certainty as entrepreneur. The only constant is change, is evolution, and the ability to move fast and to adapt based on what's happening is really going to be what allows you to win in a big way versus just being losing money and keep on spending money, not seeing your return on your investment. This is a change that might sound scary, that might sound terrifying, but ultimately the platforms, I want you to remember that the platform wants you to make money. Facebook grows when you make money, when your business is successful, because the more money you make, the more you're going to spend on Facebook. And the advertising stream is one of the biggest revenue stream for Facebook, so they have all of the interest to make you successful. So I don't want you to think, oh my God, Facebook is making it harder for us to make money, because they want you to win. But at the same time, they also want to have the best user experience ever, because they want to retain customer on their platforms, whether that's, Facebook or Instagram. And so as a business owner, as an advertiser, you should ask yourself, how am I making their life easier? And the more you shift into what they want, and the good thing is that they're letting us know what they actually want, the more you actually shift into this and just implementing this, the easiest it's going to be for you to scale profitably in 2025 and beyond, using Meta with that. So if there's any question, let me know in the comment section. If you want someone to help you, come in and guide you, or, just hold your team accountable of delivering results, reach out at drogonconsulting.co/VSL. That's where you can, schedule a call to speak with me or the team. If you have any other question regarding this video, this episode, let me know in the comment section. Reach out to me on social media at JoIy Tematio on all platforms. I'm most available on LinkedIn and Instagram. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you got value from this one, make sure to share it, leave us a review. A 5-star review is always appreciated, and it makes us keep going. And so thank you so much for being here and for listening. I will catch you on the next one. Until then, keep on scaling, keep on learning, never stop, investing in yourself in your business. Take care.